What is up? Work here, and this is a Black Rook hold 24 Tyrannical. So the damage here isn't really too bad, except for I would say two parts. And the first boss can also one-shot you if you do what we did and let any of the ghosts in. So overall, there's not a lot of Now I say this and I die an awful lot, and I don't play super great. Can I make the excuse? You can accept this or not, that I play Ret in keys mostly. Tanking, if it's kind of lower 20s, like 2021, sure, I can kind of tank those. My route's not the most efficient. Me living, not a guarantee. But I would say the least of the specs I play in Mythic Plus is healing. Mostly because we have kind of dedicated healers that are normally on, so I get to play primarily Ret for the most part, but I do heal in Raid, which is slightly different. So I'm just going to go ahead and say that Holy, my least played spec and keys, and my point of view is mostly Ret, actually. Most of my key knowledge is like where I fit in what I'm supposed to be doing. Here, mostly dispelling on cooldown. Didn't even realize there were dispels because I mostly Ret this. But we have a gigantic on the left there, weak aura saying cleanses off cooldown because I heal main for the raid. So for Farok and for, well, several of the fights, it's rather important to be dispelling on cooldown. Turns out the first part of this dungeon also pretty much need to stay right on top of the dispels or else it gets bad. Other than that, we have a Vengeance Demon Hunter who is not letting most of these casts go off. I think I've kicked maybe one. I don't know if I've kicked any, to be honest. I will stay on the pink ones, and if they try to cast and it looks like no one else will do it, I'll go for it. Other than that, it's dispels, and there's a frontal from this big mob here. And next week on Fortified, if any of those casts get off, they just start one-shotting people. So the beginning of this dungeon normally just looks like people getting one-shot deleted. It's definitely a 24 Fortified. If one of those goes off, most people are just dead unless they're like, defensive or immuning that. So we're running into the boss here. So this boss does no damage until it kills everyone with a one-shot. That's kind of how this feels. So I'm actually going in a little bit on damage here. I'm kind of realizing I was like, oh yeah, there like literally is no damage unless you get hit by that swirly thing. That's pretty much it. So this is some pretty sad damage right here. I'm not gonna lie. My prop paladin damage, or rather my holy paladin damage, not good. But the fact that it's 30, I know this is not high, but the fact that it's 30 and not 10 or 0 means that I've committed any holy shocks into hitting the boss here. This should take up less space. I should be taking up less space. But, our two DPS are melee here, so whatever. As long as I'm not dropping that on melee, that's fine. We also have two Demon Hunters, so I don't even see the affects, basically. They're just going to be instantly trapped unless we call it out. And it's on cooldown, then I'll go Hodge or kick until someone has like an actual CC. I don't take turn evil. I need Blinding Light. I need all the other things that I have. So this UI as well, again, there's literally no damage. So until we get to intermission, so I'm just DPSing. Hey, look at it, we're like almost 45k. Look at that's me actually trying to do DPS as a healer. Is it good? No, but that's something. It's something at the end of this fight because literally there's nothing to heal until here. So someone should, in theory, perma CC one of these ads so they don't go in. That doesn't seem to be happening. We should also kill these before they get in. But that also is not quite happening. I should have Blinding Light. That doesn't work. Okay, and they're in. So we're all dead, basically, at this point. Someone should have perma CC'd one. We didn't. And they got eaten. So instead, we all immune. So I bubbled. Scrisis cheated death. Our rogue probably cloaked. And Nether walk for the demon hunters or whatever. I'm not sure actually what vengeance has. I probably should know as the the tank, or as the healer rather, what the tank has. I just don't. They have a cheat death trinket, I'm almost positive, and I don't believe that I don't think Vengeance runs cheat death anymore because they don't just generally die. So it made it look like nothing, but if we didn't all use our immunities and cheat deaths, we'd all be dead. So that's how the fight goes. This is pretty common. The cast name, I'm not even sure. I just kind of look at it and I'm like, there's a cast coming, and I just send my bubble because I've done this where I have died and not sent it in time. And that is that fight there. This week aura, I've written here is for raid. It's pretty much like I don't care about CC because me CCing as a healer in the raid means nothing. There's nothing to CC for me really. It's pretty much what are my spells, and look at when cleanse is off cooldown or whatever that's called, and my defensives. However, for ret and for prot, this UI doesn't work super great, so I'm going to be updating it again. And I have gotten used to and learned how to write because of Quasi's video on how to write weak auras. I can write weak auras where we actually keep the spells there, the icons, and they turn gray, and they have timers. And I'm getting used to that now. That's what my prop paladin UI looks like, and my mage UI now. But I'm going to update my holy paladin and my ret paladin UI to have that, and probably put health bars back in that are just regular LVUI health bars. So I'm gonna update this one. This was in theory like I don't need to see my health bar or the enemy health bar when I'm raiding. Like I just look at my raid frames. Mythic Plus, I'm kind of going back to my old way, so I'm not the happiest with this UI right now. But having cleanse huge is not a bad thing, especially for raid. So here we have the spider debuff, and I'm going to cleanse our havoc because I feel like they're just not going to live as much. And we just want to cleanse off the spider dot as much as possible. Our tank has told me before that like they usually live, because when I'm prop paladin, a lot of the times our tank here is healing. And he told me that he has the Farok tanking trinket, which is like a big shield. And if you pop the shield, it actually will stop the spiders from giving you the debuff. I don't have that Farok trinket yet. I'm still mostly going for ret DPS trinkets, but I'll probably start vaulting soon enough for tanking trinkets in the future. And so I'm just on cooldown, dispelling our tank, though he's quite healthy and living. And this is primarily being soloed by our tank as well. The stops and the CCs here. So the grip to stop the archers, the silences to stop whatever casts are happening. And knife dance and archers need to be stopped. That looks like a rogue stop. And again, this is a kind of a raid UI. I don't do a ton of Mythic Plus healing right now. I do it now and again. But you'll see I'm not tracking my my Hodge or my Blinding Light. So I'm a little bit in the dark of when I have it. I kind of just guess sometimes. Not good. Bubble just came back. Cool. Am I considering using it here? I'm not sure. Maybe I'm getting chased by a Spite. Forgot about Spite. But yeah, I need to make it so that cleanse is less apparent. Really not a... I mean, it's kind of important. I do communicate that there's a friend in the back here, and I think someone goes and gets it. Maybe I Hodge it in the meantime. Nope, trapped before I even get there. Cool. And yeah, so I'd like to update my UI so that I'm, able to for sure... Oh, people are dead. For sure know when... Ooh, and I battle res by accident. That was a mistake on my part. I didn't mean to battle res that. But anyway, I need to track my my CCs because it's certainly very important on these. Like the 24s, not so much this week. 24 next week. These casts going off is just instant deaths for the most part, unless someone's anticipating it like melted or like bubbles or something. And they're pretty bad. Not so bad on the 24 Tyrannical though. People are pretty living. However, again, yeah, I need to know when that's gonna happen. So committed a battle res on trash. I'm surprised no one like yelled at me. I think I said immediately that I was like, oh, oops, that was not what I meant to do. I think it's like spamming like Holy Shock, and then if you spam Holy Shock on someone who's dead at intercessions, and I just didn't stop. So not my finest battle res. However, we are in Black Rook Hold, and I want to say that people don't die here, but I die several more times. I think I'm like all the deaths here. But I can call out why soon enough. 24 Tyrannical, although it's Black Rook Hold, it's still 24 Tyrannical, and there's still some like pretty ouchy moments here that I just wasn't really expecting them to hurt so bad. Having run mostly like, I don't know, 21, 22s, not such an issue. Here it starts to be like, oh, ouch. I think I'm getting hit by Spite there. We're going to commit the bubble, safe enough, and LOS. So if I have Hodge, it would be good to go Hodge somebody who's casting. And I think Crisis probably got either spited or fan danced, knife danced, or shot. And, you know, possibly if I think I'm trying to Hodge and then don't have it, so it's kind of embarrassing. But anyway, if I was a little bit more on top of committing my 2 slow to recharge CCs, my stuns down, that, you know, maybe that wouldn't happen as much. There's one. There it goes. Look, we stopped the barrage, you know. Necessary? I'm not sure. And I do use the, I think this is, what's his name? We have the beacon, weak aura. It's pretty helpful. I'm noticing here that Crisis is getting killed by a spider because she had the dot, which isn't great. And I guess the spiders might just be in the hallway sometimes. I'm not really sure about that, but she got killed by the spider, which is like, and then she could like invis past it. There's really no way. I don't know how she's gonna get back though, but apparently there's a spider back there. And oh man, I should know. I forget, but anyway, he's not playing. He's like the holy paladin. I would know it if I saw it. But his I'm using his weak aura to say that like you have a beacon missing, which is really helpful like in the heat of the moment. But at the moment, it gives you the clown car sound, the clown honk every single time anything happens and you don't have this beacon up. So I'm just the last like 3 minutes have been clown car honks to the point where I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna like turn off this weak aura. But this because I haven't like re-beaconed Crisis. Luckily, playing a bit of the meta here, Vengeance Demon Hunter. I doubt I heal him ever until this one hallway that comes up in the next. And also Mule Water. I do heal him a little bit, but he's rather tanky as well. So I don't even bother putting the beacon on our Havoc here. It's really not needed at all. So I've never really noticed on this fight until about this key level that there's someone's like shooting us in the background. Like there's all this damage. I'm like, where are these random? Why are people at 50% health? Like Crisis is like a healer up, and then it's like boom, like back to 50. I'm like, what is doing this? I've never even noticed this. It's certainly at like lower fortified keys. Like this damage is like fake. There's like literally nothing. But I'm like, oh, I guess there is damage on this fight. It's only now that I've actually kind of realized that. Luckily, this Crisis is our only ranged character, so she'll be full time pressing Ebonmite, Prescience, and what's it called? Oh, I should go kick that. We got it. Blistering Scales while running around with the laser. No one else would get the mechanic but her because she's ranged. I'm pretty sure that's how this is going. And this fight in this phase has no damage because things are getting kicked. And I guess when he comes back down, randomly people get hit to 50%, and I'm like so confused. I'm like, why is there any damage? And then this bleed hurts, I guess. I'm just really not familiar with the healing profile of this place, especially at a 24 Tyrannical, but we're learning. We're learning now. Like what is she getting hit by? I have no idea. It looks like I'm about to get the thing. There's a darkness. There we go. Do I have a debuff on me? I don't think I do. Anyway, I do not know the healing profile of this place, but it doesn't really matter too much. And I would say a lot of this is because our, as far as the trash goes, that our tank and our rogue and like, everyone really is kicking and stopping. I think if you pug heal or you're doing lower keys and people just are like not kicking because they're like don't track their kicks or their stuns and they don't know when to stun, then there's just unhealable amounts of damage. There's unavoidable damage. So all your cooldowns are gone before like the real damage comes out. So in this group, everyone, knows what to do here. So there's almost nothing to heal. It's pretty chill until there's a one shot is what until like, the boss eats ads and that's one shotted for most people. And then you can still immune it. And then there is a little bit to the trash coming up, which I'll kind of talk through. We've done it with this group in various combinations over and over again. And we have a kind of our communication for kick order is rather important. Kicking the Dominators is rather important on Tyrannical as well. And then the last boss, I'm pretty sure I've healed the last boss before. I've tanked it, I've DPS'd it. But 24 Tyrannical is a special level of it. This is the highest I've done in Tyrannical this place, and so like the regular old mechanics that kind of tickle, they don't tickle here. They hurt a little bit more. It's more like, oh, you're at 20% health, and we'll see that in a bit. But now I know. Now I'm like, these are real mechanics now. So if we do like Black Rook hold like 26 or something next week when it's fortified, then I'm like, okay, I know this boss hurts here. Let's see. So I think my little graphic covers this, but as Holy Paladin, you go if you go full ham on DPS and full ham on healing. That's like by design or something. I don't know why they want to do that to us. So I tend to just not Crusader Strike and Shield of the Righteous too much. And I'm drinking here. It's embarrassing. I'm pretty sure I've popped my mana potion. It's like my first thing. I just click it. But I click that mana potion on cooldown. In Raid, not so much in Heroic anymore, but I used to have to like really keep my mana up. So this is the scariest pull, trash-wise, and we're going for time. So this is the full half here, and because our tank knows what they're doing, these pretty much never cast, though we're on definitely the clock to burn this down. Even in a non-fortified, it's time. They probably are already. I'm kind of tracking them. I hope everybody used their cooldowns on this one because this stuff needs to die. When these start to go off, it just gets chaotic and it's kind of an annoying run back at this point. It's not too far actually, it's just the boss. But we're seeing all the AoE stops go out. I've seen a lot of tanks track AoE stops with a weak aura for their group. Certainly makes sense. And these are bad. Still, our tank hasn't like taken damage. Have I healed them? I think the only thing I communicated I was going to do was I was like, once I find you, it's like a sack into bubble, just to help a little bit with the DR, because that's a big pull. And then this next transition can also be kind of scary for the tank, depending on what they have. Like if they have something major up, this next pack also kind of hurts. So getting a little low, catching up, but then it looks like we have something major is going on because he's basically stopped taking damage. So those are certainly all the dangerous trash pulls coming up. I mean, there's one more that's worth talking about a little bit. It's actually right after this, but it's mostly this hallway that I've ever seen tanks like struggle with, and I do it even slower when I'm a prop paladin. Still kind of like feeling out like how survivable I feel. I do that in 3 pulls sometimes. This is 2 pulls for the entire hallway. It's certainly faster for time and for cooldowns. But I'm still concerned about like living, and I don't have as many stops as well. So pulling all the potion people like at the exact same time for me, I just don't have as many stops. So I feel like we need to maybe slow it down a little bit, which is never the right call in Mythic Plus. I learned being way too conservative and not regretting trash enough on some certain keys I've tanked last week. But anyway, that's pretty much as fast as you could do that. Maybe an MDI or like even more, like the higher keys were times even tighter. Perhaps people pulled this whole thing at once, but that's pretty spicy. It's a lot of damage too, so we just have to like really sync our, whenever our tank doesn't have coverage, I would have to be able to hold. I would have to be able to like, fill the gap until they get, I-beam or whatever Vengeance Demon Hunters have. I don't even know. Played it a little bit, but I don't remember. So these Dominators, if you just leave them unchecked and they start casting that and that gets off, that is going to kill the tank. 24 Tyrannical, we could probably get away with a couple, but I've done it with pretty much this group at like 22 Fortified, I think, which is obviously worse. Those getting off is no good. It's no good at all. And apparently, when we bring in the next pack to the boss, is if it gets off, that actually buffs the boss too, which had no idea. So this run, I don't believe would let them get off. We're in comms about this. I've also learned the voice tactic of saying late. It's like, like I have next kick, but I'm going to do it late. So don't freak out. Don't do it. We're doing it late because we want to, get the most out of our kicks as possible. So you do it kind of late. I'm not sure I called it late there, but I kicked it a little late, right? So there's like the mini game of like kick it quickly so no one else overlaps it. But then if you call late, people know not to snipe the kick. Or not snipe isn't really the right word, but to not to kick it when it's your turn, but you're gonna try to do it late. So you know, kicking these is the only thing happening here. The bats are fake, pretty much. I mean, other than the tank has to keep aggro, which I know sometimes as prop pal, I don't always have full aggro on them. But this is the kicking game. And what stops you from, like, these are pretty frequent. You can't really pull 4 and kick them all. Or it's not always the case that you're going to be able to kick them all. But with this many people with comms, it's fine. As soon as one of us overlaps, though, it's one of them's going to get off. So we do have to stay on top of this. This in lower keys, like, really not an issue. But if these start going off, they can definitely just start killing the tank. And I believe in one of our last runs, we let like one of them get off and it went on the boss, which is not a great thing to have happen either. I think we're like, why are all these bats still spawning? And who knows? Who knows the answer to that? So I want to say that this boss is easy, but spoiler alert, I die. And I die on the last boss too, but I'd like to share why. And I'd like to learn from my own dying. So that knockback at a 24 Tyrannical, which is like, you know, kind of high. It's getting there. Does it one-shot people? Ignore. Did people pop defensives? Probably not. Not a big deal. The next boss, you got to pop defensives, and we learned this ourselves. Why am I popping tears? No reason. Maybe it'll make it slightly easier to heal this up. Yeah, I suppose so. Those are holy lights into holy shocks. Cool. Didn't really need to. So it is of the utmost priority that that line that's behind me doesn't happen. That shouldn't happen. Like, don't let that happen. Like, so eventually, and why I die, and this is still what my fault. I might be dead here, actually. This is it. Yeah. Okay, so at the lower keys, you could be in that green stuff a little bit. It's not a big deal. So I was knocked back. This is obviously the mechanic of this fight. I'm getting rezzed by our tank. If you're knocked back, you get low, and then you're in the green stuff because you didn't pre-position to not get knocked into it. Then the green stuff kills you. I have never had that actually happen until this key. I'm still bubbled, I think, to kind of recover so I didn't get knocked back. I've never been killed by the green stuff before, but it is a little bit more damage from the knockback, and then there's a little bit more damage from the green stuff. So that's obviously the combo that's happening here, other than the charge, is that, yeah, if the 24 Tyrannical, just don't stand in the green stuff ever. It's always the case. Don't stand in the fire, but at lower keys, like, again, it doesn't really matter. That's not a great vomit on my part, so sadness. That being said, I didn't want to get too far from the group. Was that mine again? But I'm realizing now that, you know, I want to be up there for DPS and for uptime to like generate holy power. I should just lay on hand someone here at this point. Flash a light, sad. That was like, let me just play back and okay, never mind, we're going in. But like, try not to get knocked back into the green. Obviously, if I had positioned just a little bit better, I think I might be tanking this. No, I have the debuff. I can't do that. I have way too many debuffs. Or too many things on the screen right now. I can't even see my kick tracker. I have the Dungeon Week Aura pack plus the ability tracker, and it's just like too much on screen. I don't think I need the ability tracker anymore. That's really more for raid. I don't know. I don't even know if I need it then, to be honest, either. It's mostly for like Farok that I need to know when like Apocalypse Roar is coming. That's my main one because I'm usually carrying a seed. So I just want to be like, how much longer am I holding the seed for? But anyway, here, so just, you know, at these slightly higher Tyrannicals, you know, don't get knocked into the green stuff. Don't keep standing on the green stuff. It actually does hurt a little bit. Versus, I think I've commented this before, but like in Rise, in Fall, you stand in sand, you're dead instantly. Like, you're dead so quick, even at like a 20. Here, it's not until around here. See, I'm doing the thing again. Not great. I could defensive, but again, getting knocked back into here, I was getting bad, but we're all just like, you know, kind of finishing up here. Here, you have to take it a little bit more seriously around maybe even like 25 or something like that. But 24, again, I didn't take it seriously enough. And I was like, I'll just run through this, and I died. So not good. I didn't expect it to tick me down that quickly. Um, I could check my Raider IO. The last time I healed this place was probably like a 20 or something. Certainly different scaling at that point, even if I have like a little bit more health. So we're going to pop our Tears Deliverance. That heal right there to Mule, I believe, was the Echoing Tearstone filling him up. I think. I see the Tearstone cooldown is up. So everyone has like a little bit of haste right now. And like Echoing Tearstone, if it's charged up enough, is kind of like a lay on hands, and then everyone gets haste. So we have like a little bit of a mini lust there too. Call it a tactic to have someone get low. This one's one shot. Maybe not at a 24 Tyrannical, but 24 fortified. If you stand in that, you're gone. You are deleted off of the face of the earth. So we're coming upstairs. What have I heard about this? I saw someone running this at like a very, very high, and they were talking about pulling something up the stairs. I don't know if it was this. I am not wanting to pull the boss, just, getting freaked out by that and running into the boss. So I elect to play the staircase. Let's call it that. We're playing the staircase. Let the DPS have all the room up there. I do call out that this is back here, Hodge it, and then someone gets it. GG. Pretty sure that was our Havoc. And there's spites, and I might need to run away. So this is a misplay, but people are dying. People are dying. I bop. I don't know how many spites were on me. I saw some ghosty boys coming at me. They looked very angry. And they're physical damage, I believe. So we bopped it, and we were able to get back up there and heal the people up. I don't know if Gora Rogue cheated, and cheating doesn't heal you. But I would assume that they got hit by spites too, because what else is going on up here? I'd assume those were spite melees. So I had to bop to get back up here, to keep our momentum going. We have a long time, but this boss has a lot of health. So that bop being gone is a rather big deal here on Tyrannical. We want to dodge the ninja stars. They do hurt. Let's see if anyone gets hit by it. Is that... Okay, so this is the one where someone's just shooting you from the outside. I was like, I didn't get hit. But I guess people just take random chunk damage. Look at that. Like, that was 80% of their health. I think that was just unavoidable. I think that's unavoidable. Again, I don't know the damage here. What I do know is that what we want to do is when the swarm comes on someone in this next phase, is we want to bop them. But I burn bop to live spites. So that gives me one less defensive, and someone dies for it. It's so weird. Like, okay, so I was gonna say there isn't much bleed out damage here, like there is at like Fall or even Rise has a lot of bleed out damage. Like I'm like raid healing the whole time, like all people are taking damage at once, and over again for a long time. This is more like, oh, there's nothing to do. There's nothing to do. Someone's at 10% health, and it's like, oh, like, oh no, like, and it happens fairly soon. Okay, so this one, I didn't defensive, and I didn't even sack. Okay, so I'm just dumb. This is what I wanted to look back at. This isn't even true. Okay, so I'm wrong. I thought I sacked our Ogvoker. I didn't even push my regular defensive, so I'm just dumb. I don't know what I was thinking. I kind of get like, this has happened to me in Fall too on the last boss. I'm just like, oh, there's a ton of damage. What should I do? And then I do nothing. Not what healers should do when there's a lot of damage, for sure. So I had bubble and my regular defensive. I don't know what it's called. I'll just call it my defensive, the Q. It's different for all the paladins. I don't know the names of these things. But I'm dumb. If I had pushed any form of defensive, I would have lived. I think I was a little bit more concerned about the group living, and then I died. So that's just dumb. That's just dumb. That's the big AoE damage. I was like, oh, here comes the big AoE damage, and then did nothing about it. That was there. That was that one. So I'm just an idiot. I could have bubbled. There's a million ways to live that. All of them are just push your defensive. I'm just stupid. So moving on from that, however, I should know that is DPS and tank. Mostly DPS. I don't think the tank cares too much. But that other one, though, she died immediately because of the swarm. And I was like, oh, I should just bop, and bop's gone. So Scry has a little bit less health, I think, than everyone else. I didn't react in time fast enough to heal her back, and I didn't have bop. So normally someone has we're going to want to bop it. But I will say that I certainly died here and was trying my hardest to int this key and just to not time it. Getting killed by the knockback into the fire fell flame line in the last boss. That's the whole mechanic of the boss. Don't do that. I'm an idiot. Um, and then this one, there's literally like one instance of like huge AoE group damage, like the only healer mechanic, and I didn't push a single defensive. So pretty bad. And then I used my like only paladin utility here, which is to be able to bop someone with the bugs on them, especially if it's on our Augvoker. Oh, I think I tried to get the intercession off and it. Okay, I remember that. I was like, oh, I sent the intercession, like we should be fine. Looks like I was moving during it. So I think as soon as I die in a fight, it's always a little bit like, it kind of throws things off a little bit. Gore certainly dies a lot slower with the bugs on them. It's certainly still like I'm giving them all the heals that I have. And if I have to flash a light, this is not the flash a light build here. This is using tears. We ideally do not flash of light in this build, or at least that's my take on it, because I don't have the double infusion procs thing. So if I am flash of lighting, there's like single infusion. If I have to flash a light, things are bad, basically. There's just more damage than I was expecting to go out. And I meant to res Crisis. I think I moved during my intercession. I'm sending everything. That was Aura Mastery and whatnot. So, and at the end of the day, higher Black Rooks don't get knocked into the Fell Flame and stand in there for a long time like I did. And also, during the huge Shadow Volley, actually push a defensive, and that's it. Otherwise, this place is pretty chill. I'm just dumb. And whatever excuse you accept that I've made for myself, that's the reason. Okay, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.